Hello students, welcome to the classroom point. In this session, we shall discuss the multiple choice questions of part 1. 1 to 10 questions will be discussed and their solutions also. One more request, still now if you do not subscribe the classroom point, please do subscribe it and click on the bell icon. You will get the notifications whenever we upload the questions and the solution. The question paper is available in the description link. First you go to the description link, click on the link and get downloaded the question paper. You solve the question paper and then come to the video for the solutions and key. The very first question is, the concept of this question is, it is a mixed concept of Raoult's law of liquid in liquid type and ideal non-ideal solution. It is linked to the ideal and non-ideal solution. So in the given question, the total pressure of the solution is given. Total pressure of the solution, vapor pressure of the solution is given as 200 millimeters of mercury. Apart from this, the other given data is P naught A is given. It is approximately equals to 150 torr, and P naught B is also given. It is equals to 240 torr, and the number of moles of A is given as 1 mole, and number of moles of B also given, that is 2 moles. So in the question, 1 mole of A is mixed with the 2 moles of the B, then the total pressure of the solution is observed as 200 millimeters of mercury, and the provided data is this one, P naught A and P naught B. They are asking what type of deviation the solution shows. So initially, according to the Raoult's law, we know that total pressure of liquid in liquid type of the solutions is equals to the sum of the partial pressures, PA plus PB. So total pressure is equals to PA can be written as P naught A XA plus P naught B XB. Now total pressure is equals to, actually this total pressure we should not take, because now we are calculating what is the total pressure. This is a given total pressure. So by comparing these two values only, we will come to know whether it is showing positive deviation, negative deviation, or no deviation, whatever it may be. So P naught A value is 150 torr into mole fraction of A, number of moles of A divided by total number of moles. So 1 by 3 plus P naught B 240 torr into number of moles divided by total number of moles, 2 by 3. So by solving this, we shall get the total pressure of the solution as 200 millimeters of mercury. Means actually the solution must and should show 210 millimeters of mercury, but actually it is showing 200 millimeters of mercury. Means it is showing less value than the expected one. So that is the reason why the solution is showing negative deviation from the Raoult's law. So it is showing negative deviation from Raoult's law. Hence, option B is correct. Now let us see the question number 2. The question is, the vapor pressure of pure benzene C6H6 at 50 degrees centigrade is 268 torr. So the given data is pure vapor pressure of the benzene P naught B is equals to 268 torr. This is given. Afterwards, they added some non-volatile solute. So after adding the non-volatile solute, the vapor pressure of the benzene falls down to the 167 torr. So now they are asking how many moles of non-volatile solute is required for the benzene to reduce its vapor pressure from 268 torr of its original value to the 167 torr. So now let us try to solve the question. Partial pressure of the benzene is equals to P naught B XB, mole fraction of benzene. So mole fraction of benzene is equals to partial pressure of benzene divided by P naught B. This is equals to 167 torr divided by 268 torr. That becomes equals to 0.623 is the mole fraction of benzene. But this benzene is having some non-volatile solute. We all know that sum of the mole fractions of any solution equals to 1. So mole fraction of benzene plus mole fraction of non-volatile solute is equals to 1. So mole fraction of non-volatile solute is equals to 1 minus mole fraction of the benzene. that equals to 1 minus 0.623, and this is equals to 0.377. So these many moles of benzene non-volatile solute is required. Hence, option A is correct. And option A is correct. Here, one doubt arises among the students. When they asked about the mole number of moles, how can you say mole fraction is equals to number of moles? You must understand that the ratio of the number of moles, the ratio of the mole fractions is always equals to the ratio of the number of moles. I'll prove it here. Let us take x1 is equals to n1 by n1 plus n2, x2 is equals to n2 divided by n1 plus n2. If a solution is having two components, 1 and 2. Now let us take x2 by x1, that equals to, if we divide like this, so it shall get the n2 by n1 plus n2 into n1 plus n2 divided by n1. So these terms get cancelled, and the ratio of the mole fractions are always equals to the ratio of their number of moles. So this is the reason why N2 is equals to now this value. So mole fraction is equals to number of moles of that particular solute, that is 0.377. Now let's go for the another question. So in question number 3, we need to calculate the number of moles of the glucose. So here concept is osmotic pressure, and which is linked to the subconcept isotonic solutions. Now let's try to see here the given data. Osmotic pressure of the blood, since it is isotonic, osmotic pressure of the blood is equals to the osmotic pressure of the glucose. So now we need to calculate the number of moles of the glucose. So we can use the osmotic pressure of the blood since they are equal. So therefore we can write osmotic pressure of the glucose, that equals to number of moles of glucose divided by volume of the solution in liter into R into T. Now number of moles of the glucose is equals to osmotic pressure of the glucose, that we can take as a blood osmotic pressure, into volume of the solution in liter divided by R into T. Now number of moles of the glucose is equals to, and here osmotic pressure of the blood is given in the atmospheric pressures, that is 7.40 atmospheres, and volume of the solution they said per liter, hence it is a 1 liter. Now here liter atmospheres are there, so that is the reason why R value we should take in the liter atmospheres only, that is 0.0821 liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole into temperature, that is 300 kelvins. So by solving all these, we shall get the number of moles of the glucose as 0.3 mole. 0.3 mole. Hence option A is correct. Option A is correct. Now let's go for the another question. In this question, initially I'll write the given data. So in this question, they're asking the formula of the given complex. Concept is the depression, freezing point, and want half factor. Depression in freezing point and want half factor I. So by calculating the want half factor, we will be able to find out the formula of the complex. Formula of delta TF equals to I KF into molality. Molality is given, KF value is given, delta TF value is also given. So now I value is equals to delta TF by KF into M. So I value is equals, now let's try to substitute these terms. 3.72 divided by 1.86 into 1 molality, that is equals to 2. So the molecule, the complex is able to provide the 2 ions. Since I equals to 2, there must be 2 ions. When the complex is dissolved in the water, H2 is not considered as the ion as it comes from the hydration. So therefore, let us go with the option C, where you can observe the complex PT H2O taken thrice Cl3 Cl3H2O on hydration only, again they said. So it dissociates into Cl minus. So it is able to provide the two ions. One is cation, one is anion. So that is the reason why here we got the I value equals to 2. Hence option C is correct. Now let us go for the another question. In this question, the question is, which of the following solutions of 1 molar each will have the maximum freezing point, assuming equal ionization in each case? So the given options are, option A is the complexes. I'll write the options here. So these are the given options. Here the concept is about the freezing point with the number of particles. We all know that freezing point is always inversely proportional to the I value, number of particles. When the number of particles are less, that will have the less the number of particles, higher will be the freezing point. Now let's try to know how many number of particles are coming out of each of these complex. I'll write all these over here, and this molecule dissociates into FeH2O taken 6 plus 3 plus 3 Cl minus. So 3 chloride ions, 1 cation. Totally I value is equals to 4. And this complex dissociates into FeH2O taken 5 Cl plus 2 plus 2 Cl minus. H2O molecule we should not consider. So 2 chlorides, 1 cation. So I value equals to 3. Now this complex dissociates into FeH2O taken 4 Cl2 plus Cl minus. 2 are there. So I equals to 2. And this complex do not dissociate. It remains as it is. No dissociation. No dissociation. Because no valence is there. Secondary valence is not there. Sorry, primary valence. Ionic valence is not there. So no dissociation occurs. Since less number of molecules are there in the D, because it remains only as a one molecule. Here 2 ions, 3 ions, 4 ions, it remains as a 1. So for this I equals to 1. So here we said less the number of ions or the less the I value, higher will be the freezing point. Hence option D is correct. Now let's go for another question. So in this question, the question is, the depression in freezing point of 0.01 m aqueous solution of acetic acid is 0.02046 degrees centigrade. 1 mole of urea solution freeze at minus 1.86 degrees centigrade, assuming the molality equals to molarity. They are asking pH of the acetic acid solution. We need to calculate the pH of the acetic acid solution in this question. Concept of this question is depression freezing point with alpha and pH. So now here two solutions are given. One is acetic acid solution, second one is urea solution. Both are aqueous solutions only. Both are aqueous solutions. Therefore, Kf is same, equals to same. Why? Because Kf depends only on the solvent, not on the solute. So for acetic acid, let's write it down. For CH3COOH, acetic acid, delta Tf of acetic acid is equals to 1/2 factor of the acetic acid into Kf into molality of the acetic acid. Similarly, for urea solution, so delta Tf of urea solution equals to 1/2 factor of urea solution into Kf into molality of the urea solution. Now, let us try to divide these equations. Let us take this one, equation 1 and equation 2. Divide the equation 2 with 1. Divide equation 2 with 1. Equation 1. So we shall get now delta TF of urea solution divided by delta TF of acetic acid solution is equals to I value of the urea solution into Kf into molality of the urea divided by here I of acetic acid into Kf into molality of the acetic acid. Kf is same and molalities values they had given here. Now let's try to substitute these all values. I value of urea is 1 because urea do not dissociate. We have to find out I value of the acetic acid only. So this value urea is 1.86 given here divided by acetic acid is 0.02046 depression freezing point of acetic acid. Both are degree centigrade, so they get cancelled. I value of the urea is 1, molality of the urea is also 1, and I value of the acetic acid is to be calculated, and molality of the acetic acid is given as 0.01. Now, I value of the acetic acid after solving all those, we will get the I value of the acetic acid as 1.1. Here we need to calculate the pH. So actually we know that acetic acid dissociates to small extent, at the same time associates also. So generally question arises whether acetic acid associates or dissociates in the given solution. They are asking about the pH. So to calculate the pH, acetic acid must and should dissociate only. Then only we can calculate the concentration of H plus N. So if acetic acid dissociates, let us consider that acetic acid dissociates COO minus plus H plus, means it is able to provide the two number of the ions. So two number of the ions means for such type of the ionic compounds, I value is equals to, I value can be calculated, I value equals to n minus 1 alpha plus 1, where n equals number of the particles. So I value equals to 1 minus 2 minus 1, two particles are there. 2 minus 1 means 1 only. So alpha plus 1. So we can calculate the alpha value as alpha equals to I minus 1. So alpha equals to I value is 1.1 minus 1. So alpha value is equals to 0.1. So from this now we have to calculate the concentration of H plus. Concentration of H plus is equals to C alpha. C means the concentration of acetic acid is already provided, that is 0.01, which we have taken here in the form of the molality, into alpha value just now again they had given 0.1. So concentration of H plus is equals to 10 power minus 3 molality. Okay, now let's try to solve the pH. pH formula equals to minus log concentration of H plus. So pH is equals to minus log 10 power minus 3. Now pH is equals to 3. This is the answer of the question. Hence, among the given options, option B is correct. Now let us go for the another question. So in this question number 7, we need to calculate the osmotic pressure. pH values of the component monobasic acid is given. So pH of the monobasic acid is given as 2. So from this they are asking us to calculate the osmotic pressure. Now let us try to see. When pH is given, we can calculate the concentration of H plus, because we know that concentration of H plus equals to 10 power minus pH. Therefore, concentration of H plus is equals to 10 power minus 2, because you can put the pH value over here. So it is equals to 10 power minus 2 molarity. Since it is a monobasic acid, you can take the molarity as a normality, no problem. We know that concentration of H plus is also equals to C alpha. So from this we can calculate the alpha value. So alpha value is equals to concentration of H plus divided by the concentration of the acid. So alpha equals to concentration of H plus is 10 power minus 2 divided by concentration of the acid is given as 10 power minus 1. In the given question, you can go through the question. So alpha value equals to 0.1. So now, since it is a monobasic acid, so monobasic acid dissociates like this: H plus plus A minus. So it is able to provide the two ions. So that is the reason why I value is equals to, as usually the formula for dissociation, n minus 1 alpha plus 1, where n equals number of ions produced after dissociation. So 2 minus 1 equals to 1. So alpha plus 1. So I value is equals to alpha value just now here we got, that is 0.1 plus 1. So I value finally becomes equals to 1.1. So now let's try to calculate the osmotic pressure. So osmotic pressure formula pi equals to ICRT, and pi equals to I value just now calculated, that is 1.1 into concentration of the acid already initially only they said 0.1 monobasic acid 0.1 molarity. RT value is not given, so it is equals to 0.11 RT. So option B is correct. Now let's try to go for the another question. Question number 8. In this question, we have to calculate the lowering of vapor pressure. So lowering of vapor pressure is nothing but equals to P naught minus P. That can also be written as delta P. And we must understand one thing, that 1 torr is always equals to 1 millimeters of mercury. So you can take the torr or millimeters of mercury also. So according to the Raoult's law, P naught minus Ps divided by P naught equals to mole fraction of the solute. That means actually molality formula directly I am taking relation between the molality and the Raoult's law. That is molality into molecular weight of solvent divided by 1000. If you don't know how to get the relation is already in our videos. You can check over there. So this is nothing but the delta P. So we can write the related lowering of vapor pressure delta P divided by P naught you send this side. So it becomes now M into molecular weight of solvent divided by 1000 into P naught. So delta P is equals to molality is given 1. Molecular weight of the solvent is 18 grams per mole because it is a water solvent aqueous solution. 1000 is the constant, and it is 760 torr. 760 torr or 760 millimeters of mercury. P naught value. Here generally question arises from where this P naught value have come from, because temperature of the solution is given. Temperature of the solution is 100 degrees centigrade. At 100 degrees centigrade, the vapor pressure of the water is nothing but equals to 760 millimeters of mercury, or it equals to 1 atmosphere. Why? Because this is the boiling point of the water, pure water. The boiling point definition is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of a liquid becomes equals to atmospheric pressure. Atmospheric pressure is 760. So that is the reason why pure liquid vapor pressure, that means solvent vapor pressure P naught, that is 760 millimeters of mercury I have taken here. And by solving all these, lowering of vapor pressure, we will be able to get the 13.68 torr. Hence option A is correct. Now let's try to solve another question. This is a conceptual question. They're asking the which of the following mixtures showing the ideal solution, most likely to show the ideal solution. That is always benzene with C6H5CH3 among the given options. This option is correct. That is option A. The reason is benzene and toluene, they are having the molecular sizes nearly equal. When the sizes are equal, so attraction forces between the benzene molecule, toluene molecule also nearly same. Hence option A is correct. Let's go for another question. So in this question, they had given the information, that is mole fraction of in vapor state is equals to x1, and mole fraction of A in liquid phase is given as x2. Now they're asking to calculate the total vapor pressure. We all know that mole fraction of any compound in vapor phase is equals to partial pressure by total pressure. So partial pressure of A divided by total pressure of the A. Partial pressure means there we can write P naught A into mole fraction of A in the liquid phase. Liquid phase is 2 divided by total pressure. Now they are asking us to find out the total pressure. So total pressure is equals to P naught A x2 divided by x1. Hence option A is correct. So hope you all understand these questions and the solutions. If you have any doubt, please do comment in the comment box. Please do not forget to subscribe the channel, because in the next part we shall discuss the remaining questions. Thank you.